Hey everyone, just wanted to give you a quick heads up. The second Global Product Owner Summit is coming soon. You can get all the details at bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. That's bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. And it's all lowercase, all one word. Oh, and stick with us until the end of the episode to know the dates and the tracks that we have for you in this year's summit. But for now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Dave Smith. Hey, Dave, welcome back.
It's Friday. Hey, Roscoe. Great to be back.
Indeed. We're having a pint by the pub. Down by the pub, and we're talking product owners because, of course, it's one of the key and critical roles in Scrum, and it's a role that we must help develop as well. It's not just the product owner's problem, it's our problem when product owners are not performing or helping the team perform. So let's dive into that, Dave. Share with us, we'll talk about a great product owner in a minute, but first share with us potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
Oh, this is a topic quite close to my heart, actually. I mean, the worst product owner is somebody called a product owner in name, but not actually fulfilling responsibilities. Now, it could simply be they don't know what a good product owner is. And I do know some people who are certified Scrum trainers often say that an SM should also get onto product owner training to understand what that position is, what that role and accountabilities are, in order to be able to effectively coach them. Now, one of the product owners I knew, back in one company, we had one person or each person was responsible for a training course. They were referred to as being the product owner of that course. Now, this is a company where they kept talking a great deal about ownership. Somebody owned the schedule, somebody owned this process, somebody owned that. So there was a person who was the owner of this training course. Now, I taught the course a couple of times, and I didn't think the course was particularly great, but I wasn't going to tell them it's rubbish. I was going to suggest to them ways of improving it. I could see what the course was trying to do. I just saw it wasn't doing a very good job of it. So I ran this past the product owner. I had a chat to her about it, and we came up with all these ideas, and she took all the ideas on board. And then the final comment was, okay, we'll have to run this past Malcolm. And I said, why? And she said, well, he's my boss. And I said, yeah, he may be your boss, but you're the product owner. Oh, yes, I own the product. Okay. So if you have ownership of this, then you can make these changes. I know I need to go and get Malcolm's approval. Why do you need Malcolm's approval? Well, because Malcolm's the head developer. Malcolm actually takes care of all of these. And I found the same response with a couple of other people as well. And I thought, what the hell is going on with Malcolm? And it seemed to be that there was this huge approval chain, and this idea of ownership completely went out the window. So as far as she was concerned, I can make these changes, but I need to take them to somebody to actually approve and then bring them back. And I said, well, do you own this product or not? Well, yeah, I'm supposed to be the product owner. I said, well, make changes then. And if they don't like the changes you've made, hand the product back to them and say, well, clearly I don't own it. Now, unfortunately, I think the culture over in that side of the country, she wasn't willing to do that. But I did point out, well, what do you understand is ownership? What does ownership really mean? Doesn't the buck stop with you? And that's what I'd always learn in Scrum to do with the product owner role. They champion the product, it stops with them. I also learned that from Ittel. I heard about it in project management, and a whole pile of things when they talk about accountability and ownership. Your head is on the block. You have the final say. And in this case, this was a PO that wasn't a PO. And I thought, is that because they don't know what ownership is about? Or is it because there is a culture of which the POs aren't trusted? And I think that's a big thing about trust.
Absolutely. And that's important to state, right? Because very often there are multiple possible sources or origins of that anti-pattern of the owner not owning what they are supposed to own, in this case, the product. And I was thinking that, of course, this person had learned, either through copying others or by being told to step back, that somebody else was actually needing to approve all of the changes, as you call it, the lead developer or head developer for those courses. And what I'm thinking is, of course, we can go to the product owner and say, hey, but it's your job and you should own it. But as a Scrum Master, I think that we need to also take a step back and ask ourselves, what of the many possible sources for this pattern, or anti-pattern in this case, is the one that is actually at play here, right? Like, because this needing Malcolm to approve the changes could come from the PO themselves. They were probably not confident or didn't have the knowledge or were thrown into a job they were not ready for. Or it could be that the problem lies elsewhere, that there's a process that is not even Malcolm's responsibility, somebody else's responsibility, and that process requires that the ownership is diluted, I guess we could say, by having multiple people having to approve any changes. And I think that that's a key aspect for us as Scrum Masters, not to assume that the anti-pattern is with the person, because the anti-pattern might be with the organization, with the process itself, with the culture, as you also referred to. And if we don't know that, we can't take the next step, which is help this product owner understand what they could do.
That is a key point, actually, because another product owner in the same organization worked quite differently. As far as he was concerned, he owned it. I worked with him very closely on a number of things. And as far as he was concerned, if we're going to make this change and the change goes wrong, it's going to be on his head. He had the firm idea of complete ownership. So maybe this PO, the first one I spoke about, she was hesitant to actually take ownership of that because she was worried about the flag if she made a wrong call. But surely that is the point of being a PO, is that the buck does stop with you. You should have the courage of making that.
But of course, as we've discussed also this week, if there isn't enough psychological safety for mistakes to be okay, then people will just step back and not want to make those mistakes. And that's another aspect, of course, comes from culture, but it's an important aspect for us to consider. So now we turn our attention to the opposite, Dave, the mirror image of this, what might have been potentially the best product owner you've ever witnessed in your career. How did they work?
Okay. What I found so I'll talk a bit about the product owner during the previous company, the flip side to this person. He was very available, very approachable. We used to communicate a great deal over Skype. He would take a lot of my ideas, and at some point when I said we need to have these changes, do you want to give me the slides and I can make the changes? He said yes, and he just unlocked them to me and he let me make changes. And I said, look, I'm going to make these changes provided you've got some approval or version control on where you can review my changes and agree or disagree, accept or reject them, because at the end of the day, this is your product. I don't want to be changing things out from under you. And he agreed with that. So I made several changes and I talked through stuff, changed the language, and he benefited from that. But at the end of the day, it felt like he trusted me to do all of that stuff. I spoke to another course owner where I said, there's a lot of mistakes in the code or it's badly written. If you throw me the PDF or just cut and paste the code to me, I can make a change. And her response is not going to happen. Right, so you want me to type the entire code out? Well, nobody gets access to the PDF. No, I just want a copy of that code. Yeah, it's not going to happen. And I thought, I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to make these improvements. Now, as a result, I wasn't really on board with helping that person because they didn't appear to need help. And I found out later they treated it as being their own baby, and they were quite defensive when anybody pointed out there was something wrong with their baby. And what was worse is that was somebody who wasn't actually teaching those materials, so they never knew how bad they were. As far as they were concerned, everything was fine my end. If you've got problems, the problem's got to be with delivering it, not with me creating it. It's a songwriter who says my song is fantastic, all of you are singing it badly. And I think, well, have you tried playing it yourself? So Marco, focus on the skills of what a good PO is. Number one, they're available and approachable. Number two, they're listening and welcoming of ideas. They may not agree to them, but they are willing to listen to them rather than kill them stone dead, which is why I said when I realized I was a bit too entrenched in the way in which we did course setups and my young protege actually found a better way of doing it, I realized that maybe I was too old for the job. Maybe I should move on. Now, the third thing I find, and that's something I find in my current company, is that I work with a lot of the product managers. Each of them cross over the other product line. So when I'm talking to one product owner of a particular product, they do highlight, okay, but we need to involve this person, or are you aware that that person is making this change? So that they're all in constant communication. And I think that is good for a product management team. But for me, the big thing that signifies a great PO is somebody that extrudes faith that they're informed and they're in control of things. When you talk to them, they don't have a whole pile of questions or they can't answer questions. They're actually on the ball and their knowledge is actually much further forwards rather than this is the first time they're finding out things. And that's something I found with a good number of POs where we discuss something and they will immediately come back with, yes, we're going to do that, or we'd like to do that, but it may happen in a couple of weeks' time. rather than, hang on, I need to get back to you on that. It's, I'll need to get back to you. Oh, okay, maybe you do. But people who are in the here and now and can come up with immediate decisions tells me they've got their eye on the ball. They've got the finger on the pulse. And that is what I want to see from a good PO.
And there's two aspects there that I think go very well together, right? Like the last one you mentioned, a great PO is able to make decisions when they get the feedback in the here and now, as you described it. But they are also open to ideas and even open to ownership sharing with other people that want to contribute to the product, right? And I think when you put those two together, right, to be able to listen to feedback, learn from it, but also to be able to allow others to bring their perspective into the product, I think then they are able to create much better products because they are not stuck in what I can see. And I think that's one of the problems that we need to face as Scrum Masters is when we are stuck in, improving what we can see only. And when we don't take others' perspectives in, we are also at a fraction of the potential that we could achieve should we allow others to come in and share their ideas.
I think that's a key point you mentioned there. Some of the best POs I've worked with are people that are interested in the success of the product rather than the success of them. So the two people that I butted heads against, one of them didn't have enough confidence in herself to be able to do something. The other one felt that any criticisms of the product were criticisms of her. And she wasn't interested in improving the product because she thought it would reflect badly on her in terms of her leadership or her management. But the other POs that I've worked with or product managers I've worked with quite well all know that the product is not perfect and they're very open to how do we make it better. They don't see the problem with them, they see the problem with the product, and they know that we want to work together to fix it.
Absolutely. We want to work together to fix it indeed. Dave, it's been a pleasure. We're almost getting to the end though, but before we go, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Okay, they can find me on LinkedIn. So I've often thought LinkedIn, my job title there is not how I define myself. I define myself by what I can do and how I can help people. So they can find me on there. The company I work for is actually a marketing company. So I'm a trainer there, but I help out in many other places. They could find me there, but they're probably more interested in how I conduct myself on LinkedIn. Find me on my profile there.
Absolutely. And we'll put the link to that on the show notes so that people can go easily find Dave and why not ask a few follow-up questions based on the conversations you've heard this week. Dave, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to have shared, and I hope it helps people in future, or at least you can say, yeah, let's not bother to listen to that guy again.
I'm sure you've helped many, many people with the stories you've shared with us this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around and listening to the details of the Product Owner Summit, this year's global summit dedicated to a critical Scrum role, the Product Owner role, of course. We'll have some amazing keynotes and 4 tracks filled with first-hand stories and experiences for product owners to learn more about that critical Scrum role. The summit will take place between April 23rd and 25th, so book your calendars. There will be loads of sessions for you to attend. One of the keynotes will be Dave West, the product owner and CEO at Scrum.org, one of the largest Scrum organizations in the world. If you want to know more, check out the details at bit.ly/product owner 2024. That's all one word, all lowercase, bit.ly/product owner 2024. We will also have 4 tracks. The 4 tracks will cover cross-functional product ownership. That's track 1. As Pixar's Ratatouille said, not every idea can be a great idea, but a great idea can come from anywhere. And this quote emphasizes the importance of a product owner being open to all ideas, regardless of the source, and also challenges us to focus on getting good ideas from everywhere and involving the whole team in the product owner role and responsibilities. The second track is Designing Products for Growth, where we explore how to craft products ready for scalable growth, merging practical strategies with innovation. The idea here is to learn to design products for growth, whether it is sales or customer acquisition. The third track is know your users, user-centric approaches for agile development. In this track, we learn to master user-centric techniques in agile development, to deeply understand customer needs and transform insights into meaningful UX designs that focus on engagement and satisfaction. This is a track ideal for innovation-focused agile teams. And the fourth track, one of the most exciting tracks in my opinion, is product development with AI, ideas for product owners. Not only do we discuss about using AI in the products, but also AI for product owners to learn to make a bigger impact with the help of the AI tools that we already have. The Product Owner Summit will also present to you great opportunities to network with your peers. So get your ticket and join our Slack. You can get the ticket and join the Slack at bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. As always, we have free tickets and also the paid tickets that help to support this podcast. So check them out at bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. That's all lowercase, all one word, Product Owner 2024. I'll see you in the summit floor.